Hey peeps, Dee here. Welcome to my channel, welcome to my studio, welcome to this little tiny class. And it is a shorty because it's all about using these shapes that were made in a different tutorial, okay? And I will put a link to the tutorial in the class description. So I'm not going to put the whole thing in this class. You know, I loved making these. I loved making them so much, I couldn't stop myself. Then I ended up making more. So I just kind of stuck them in this little plastic box, keeping my little templates in the same box. What a concept. I don't know why it took me 30 years to think of that. But yeah, so everything's in one place. But I'd like to use these in another way because I'm getting a little tired of making pins. So that's what this class is about. It's about using them to make this. Look at this cute little thing. It's adorbs. Okay, so this is a really, really simple project. Yeah, I would say it's pretty simple, but in the class, I'm just gonna tell you just a couple of potential pitfalls. So let's get started. Okay, so if you watch if you want to know how to make these shapes, I put a link into another tutorial for you to watch. It's really fun to make them. I really enjoy the process personally a lot. Anyway, so my little shapes are quite thin. I think I wrote these through setting number 2. Yeah, in my atlas that starts at setting 0. Yeah, so they're quite thin. Now, what I do want to make sure of, and this is important because I don't want to go through all the work of preparing all those pieces only to discover that my jump rings won't work. Okay, so these are my jump rings. Yeah, I have another size too. It's quite a bit smaller. I'll show you what that is. Oops. So you can see how much smaller that is. And I think you can probably understand why these won't work, but these will. Okay, just imagine trying to connect these two with this skinny little jump ring. And you quickly understand why that doesn't work. This is the one we need. They come in all different sizes, and I highly recommend you get ovals. Now, I don't need any more. What I do need to do is just test it out by drilling 2 holes. So let's look at the backs. Yeah, it takes me a while. It takes me a while. Now let's just say I'm gonna drill here. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to drill too close to the edge. Like that's very close to the edge. You see how close that is? Because what will probably happen is you'll probably break it. You'll probably break through and break along the edge. So you have to leave yourself a little bit of a margin so that when you drill, you have a margin of clay outside of the holes, right? Make sense? Yeah, I thought so. So this is my drill. I like this one for this purpose because it has a spring, and as I push this down, the drill starts turning. Okay, so it's a great thing. I'm working on my Ikea trivet. Just go slowly. Happens pretty quickly, just like that. And I'm purposely going slowly so I don't break through. Like so. So there is the hole. Here is another hole I made in this boomerang shape before. Now let's try linking them together just to make sure that I don't have a problem. Because you'd be so sad if you did all the work and it didn't work. That would make me very sad. So I'm just connecting it back, and it's good. See how much movement there is? Now see, if I had drilled too far into the body here and into here, then the two pieces would be rubbing together in the middle. They are not rubbing together in the middle. Now, if this is too thick, I might have difficulties this way, right? The piece wouldn't have no movement this way. So you've got to make sure that you can move your pieces in those two directions. Okay, so that's perfect. So I know that is approximately where I'm going to need to drill all the holes. Now, I've drilled all of these already, but what I would say is, you know, take your pieces, let me just pick another piece, and if you're a little afraid of the process, you can even sort of measure, you know, if you need to. Try to measure from the center of this hole to the edge, and then mark it, maybe mark it with a Sharpie here. It's important but not critical, if you know what I mean. If you're a little bit further away in one piece than another, it's not critical. They won't be exactly, the spacing won't be exactly the same, but I'm not sure anybody's going to notice that anyway. So that's one of those things that I would not stress or lose sleep about. Okay, so that's that. Oh, I like that. Okay. So you're going to drill, I'm jumping ahead. So now that you know this is going to work, now we're going to move on and prepare these pieces. All right, well that makes, this is the fourth time I'm trying to get this very simple project started. All right, so take a picture. It's going to help you later, save you a lot of work, save you a lot of grief, because you'd be amazed at how quickly you'll lose your design and then have to do it again. Not a huge deal, but why take the time? Now, each of these pieces is very thin. So first of all, very, very, very important that you have cured them properly so they're not just going to break. Also, you want to make sure you use a strong clay so they don't break. And most of the clays are going to be just fine, I believe. I have no reason to think they won't be, but there is one I would like you to stay away from, and that is Sculpey 3. Too weak. I know that if you're just starting, you've gone to the store, you look at all the clays sitting there, Kato POLYCLAY is not there, but, and you think, oh, they're all the same, you know, I'm just going to pick based on the colors I like or whatever. No. They have different characteristics. Do not buy Sculpey 3. Okay. It may be good for other things. It's just not good for this purpose. Now, we've got to sand the backs, and we want to make sure that the edges of each of these pieces are nice, okay? It's kind of hard to sand something this thin like this. If you have a cork trivet, Ikea, makes it much easier. Now, I'm using my P180 Abranet sandpaper, sanding sheet. This stuff is fantastic. So you're just going to give it a light sanding. I would say you don't have to concentrate. You certainly don't have to lose sleep over this part. Okay, just do kind of the best job you can. Should feel good. Now, at this point, you're then going to sand the edge. You can take the same auburnette, run it around the perimeter, like so. Sometimes you get into a situation where you need a little help in one of these areas inside. Maybe you take a metal file. You can buy these at Harbor Freight. They're really, really cheap. You get a lot of different shapes. This one is round. Okay, and so you can do that. Now sometimes, and really, let me see if I can find a place. Okay, let's say there's a problem in here in this like really fine area. Sometimes I even take something like this and just scoot it in there. Oops. Try not to lose it, because a runaway scalpel is not a good thing. But you can see how I'm just shaving it away like that. Yeah, that works really well. Like so. So I'm just kind of shaving little bits away. So you can do that too. You're going to do whatever it takes. And I have to admit, most of these areas, the armpits, so to speak, they're not really going to need much attention. Okay, so let me finish the rest of them, and then I'll be back. All right, peeps, so I put everything together, and I used this little clasp. You know, the necklace itself is so light that this is one of those situations where that little clasp is perfect. P-I-R-F-I-C-T. Yeah. Okay, so here it is. So this was just a little shorty. What you can do, other things you can do with your little cutout shapes, seeing as how, if you're like me, you have a lot of them sitting around, and maybe some of the things you have to watch out for. Yeah, so I am going to wear this and make sure that everything's okay, and if so, you are seeing this class. All right. Okay, time to say goodbye. So until we meet again, I'm Donna Kato, and I am signing off.